close your eyes for just a moment. Imagine waking up in Europe nearly 30,000 years ago. There are no houses, no villages, no roads, no electricity, and no warm bed waiting after sunset. The only thing standing between you and death is the knowledge carried by your small tribe. A freezing wind tears across an endless white landscape, cutting through your animal skin clothing. Every breath burns your lungs. Snow stretches as far as the eye can see, and somewhere beyond the trees, wolves begin to howl. Your children are hungry, your fire is fading, and you know one terrifying truth. If you make the wrong decision before nightfall, your family may never see another sunrise. This wasn't fiction. It was the reality of prehistoric humans. Yet somehow, against impossible odds, they survived one of the coldest periods in Earth's history. The question is, how? For years, many believed prehistoric humans simply wandered through the wilderness, surviving by luck. But modern archaeological discoveries tell a very different story. Ice Age camps found across Europe reveal that these people were skilled planners. They carefully chose places where cliffs blocked freezing winds, where fresh water remained available, and where migrating animals were likely to pass. Every campsite was selected for survival. Without maps or weather forecasts, they learned to read nature better than most of us ever could. Whenever caves were available, they became the safest shelters. Thick stone walls protected families from icy winds and helped hold precious warmth. But caves weren't always nearby. Across the frozen plains, humans built shelters from wooden poles covered with heavy animal hides. In places where wood was scarce, archaeologists have even discovered shelters built using mammoth bones. These weren't permanent homes, but they were clever designs created from experience passed down through generations. Every detail mattered because even a small mistake could cost lives. Then there was fire, the greatest survival tool prehistoric humans ever mastered. Fire wasn't only about staying warm. It dried wet clothing, cooked food, provided light during endless winter nights, and helped keep dangerous predators away. Around those flames, families gathered to share knowledge. Experienced hunters taught younger generations how to read animal tracks, predict changing weather, and survive another freezing season. Long before schools or books existed, these lessons were passed from one generation to the next beside a campfire. Keeping that fire alive became just as important as finding food. Many archaeologists believe prehistoric people carefully carried glowing embers from one campsite to another because starting a new fire during freezing weather was difficult and risky. If the flames died in the middle of a winter storm, the consequences could be deadly. Fire meant warmth, protection, cooked food, and hope. It was the center of life itself. But even the strongest shelter and the brightest fire couldn't solve every problem. As winter tightened its grip, deep snow covered the land, animals became harder to find, and food slowly disappeared. The cold was dangerous, but hunger was even worse. Every sunrise became a race against time, pushing prehistoric humans to develop incredible survival strategies that would eventually shape the future of our species. And that was the moment when the real battle for survival truly began.
Winter had now transformed the landscape into a silent battlefield. Rivers disappeared beneath thick sheets of ice, forests stood almost empty, and every hunting trip carried the risk of never returning. With each passing day, food became harder to find, and the tribe understood one painful truth: Surviving the cold meant nothing if there was nothing left to eat. But instead of giving up, prehistoric humans adapted in ways that still amaze archaeologists today. They didn't hunt alone. They hunted together. Groups of skilled hunters followed the seasonal migrations of reindeer, wild horses, bison, and sometimes even mammoths. They spent years learning the habits of these animals, studying their movements, and waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Hunting wasn't just about courage, it was about patience, teamwork, and experience. When a hunt was successful, every part of the animal had a purpose. The meat fed the entire tribe, while the fat provided the energy their bodies desperately needed to survive freezing temperatures. Modern researchers believe animal fat was one of the most valuable resources during the Ice Age because it helped people generate body heat for long periods. Thick hides became warm clothing and blankets. Bones were shaped into needles, knives, spear points, and fishing tools. Tendons became strong thread for sewing, and antlers were turned into durable tools. Nothing was wasted. Every successful hunt meant another chance to survive another week. Their clothing was also far more advanced than most people imagine. Archaeologists have discovered bone needles dating back tens of thousands of years, proving that prehistoric humans didn't simply wrap themselves in animal skins. They carefully stitched fitted clothing that trapped warm air close to the body. Several layers of fur protected them from freezing winds, while soft grass and extra hides were often placed inside footwear to insulate their feet from the icy ground. Without understanding modern science, they had already discovered one of the most important principles of staying warm, keeping body heat from escaping. But perhaps humanity's greatest advantage wasn't better clothing or better weapons. It was cooperation. Every person in the tribe had a role. Hunters searched for food, while others protected children, repaired shelters, prepared clothing, and kept the fire alive. Older members passed down knowledge that couldn't be learned in a single season. How to predict storms, where animals migrated, and which decisions could save an entire family. Generation after generation, that knowledge became stronger. It was this ability to learn, adapt, and share information that allowed humans to survive environments where many larger and stronger animals disappeared forever. Looking back today, it's easy to admire their courage, but the real reason they survived was much simpler. They never stopped adapting. Every freezing winter forced them to become smarter, more creative, and more united than the year before. Those brutal Ice Age winters didn't just test the human body, they shaped the human mind. The shelters they built, the fires they protected, the clothes they stitched, and the lessons they shared laid the foundation for everything that came later. Every village, every city, and every home we live in today exists because our ancestors refused to surrender to the cold. So tonight, when you close your front door, switch on the heat, or wrap yourself in a warm blanket, remember the people who faced winters without any of those comforts. They survived not because they were stronger than us, but because they learned from nature, trusted one another, and adapted when survival seemed impossible. If you enjoyed this journey into humanity's past, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let us know in the comments, do you think you could survive just one Ice Age winter with nothing but the knowledge of our ancestors?